Hello everyone, this is Ben from GP Adventures and the Hobby Shop Dungeon, and I'm here today to talk about an issue that showed up on the Hobby Shop Dungeon Facebook group. And I'm not answering a question from a backer or anything, but I thought it was a good opportunity to raise the question. And it's about gender and race representation in role-playing games, right? Now, that's a contentious issue because gamers are diverse, right? And they're diverse in more ways than just gender and race. They are also diverse in the way they want to play the game and what they're searching for when they are playing the game. For instance, you will have some gamers who really care about issues of diversity in the game, right? Either because they want their players to be able to relate to the setting, the world being depicted, right, with their characters or however else, or they want to be able to express themselves and to approach these topics through the game, because that's just what excites their imagination, or whatever else. So yeah, you will have those kind of gamers. And on the other hand, you're gonna have the gamers who basically play the game on Friday evening and to get away from the grind of the week and just don't want to have any kind of subjects of politics or real life issues showing up in their game, right? There's no right or wrong answer here, right? Just different people going about playing games differently. And the same goes for RPG game designers, right? You're gonna have game designers who are gonna use the medium to express themselves politically speaking, and other game designers who will not want to touch those kinds of real life topics with a 10-foot pole, right? And I think that's just the way it is. Because role-playing games are this unique medium in that both from the creator side of things and the user's side of things, it is a participative, actively engaging medium, right? So people are gonna pour their imagination into it in different ways. Now, for me, as a game designer on the Hobby Shop Dungeon project, what that means is that, well, my priorities about when talking about the Hobby Shop Dungeon are very clear, right? I want with Ernie to be able to translate the Hobby Shop Dungeon setting in a faithful way on the page, right? So that people can use it and play the Lake Geneva type of games for themselves. We also want the setting to be able to be used for other types of playstyles, games, genres, and so on. What this means is that the setting, the modules, the dungeon have to be relatable to a variety of gamers, right? This isn't about politics at all. Actually, I think that with those kinds of priorities and those kinds of specific aims, as we have with the Hobby Shop Dungeon, bringing politics into the equation would be a bad thing, right? Because that would be like driving a wedge in the middle of our core audience and say, we think this or that way politically speaking, and you better get on board with us in order to play the dungeon, right? And that just wouldn't work, right? That would be in direct conflict with that stated goal. Okay, and no, it's not about politics. What it is about is finding ways for a variety of gamers to be able to relate with the setting, right? And what I mean by that is not only will you find that the setting is adaptable, but you won't find things set too much in terms of here's how society works, right? Like there is an effective equality of genders, or here's how people relate with homosexuality or transgender people, and so on. This is something that really is best left in this case for the DM and the players to discuss at their game table. Part of the core idea for GP Adventure is to unlock your imagination. That's part of the old school how we envision it, right? That the game setting and the modules are there for you to use for your own benefit, to play your own games, not the games we want you to play, right? Okay, so from that standpoint, it's best to be providing the information needed to have a clear mental picture of what the land looks like, what the people are like, but to leave some aspects in flux, so that you can fine tune it to your own needs at the game table. So if you want a more a society reflective of the prejudices of the Middle Ages, or any type of thing like this, you can do so. If you want your fantasy to be more in tune with modern sensibilities and ideas of morality and what is right and what is wrong, you can do that as well, right? Okay. Now, elements of the settings as well can either be picked up, emphasized, or ignored, right? In the history of the Duinnsmere, you will find there are very strong women, for instance, right? One of the rulers of Dantium, which is the equivalent of Rome in our setting, was an empress, and started and led the war against Yathar, which is was an empire worshipping chaos, basically, right? And the two empires nearly obliterated each other. You're gonna have the Shield Maiden, which is like an historical figure that served the king of the Franks when he declared his crusade against the giants, and the king was young and reckless, and he used the Breton population, which are like British Isles people, as fodder in his armies, right? And the Shield Maiden took exception to that, and actually protected the Breton people. And for that, in the now of the setting, she became a mythological figure, a patron, that exactly functions like a deity in a usual D&D setting, right? She has clerics that are mostly women, by the way, but men also. But the difference is it's kind of cool, because like in the clergy of the Shield Maiden, women are going to be the ones that really reach the high levels of priesthood, right? Whereas the men start out with cleric levels, right? And at some point they go through a ritual of transformation, of maturity in service of the Shield Maiden, and they do what we call, they take on the sword. And basically what they do, being human, they dual class into fighters, and they literally take on the sword to defend the Shield Maiden, right? And so they have some levels of cleric, but they become fighter at later levels, which is, I think that's a super cool idea. But anyway, so you're gonna have the current ruler of the main fief of humans near the Hobbyshot dungeon is a woman. This is Alondra. This is the Viscountess of Poire. And she's a strong woman also. So that's about when we're talking about the setting itself, right? Ways to relate to it, right? Race, in terms of race, yeah, many types of humans in terms of ethnicity exist around the Duinnsmere, right? And you're gonna find equivalents of Sumerians like the Akkadians, or Kemetians for kind of Egyptian, ancient Egyptian. The Eldeni for the ancient Greeks, Dantians for Rome, those kind of things. you'll also find some equivalents that do not exist on Earth, right? Like the Adamantari, who hail from a city-state way lost in a desert, and a very strict caste-based society, and they have like a deep blue, slate blue skin, and generally clear eyes of various shades. Not always. You're gonna have the Yathari. The people of Yathar are copper skinned. That can mean that's up to interpretation there again, right? So that could be like literally kind of Middle Eastern types of shades of skin, right? Or literally copper metal skin, right? Or both, right? The default is basically both. And these people, so they are the descendants of an empire that worshipped chaos. But in the modern days, some of them still work for the hierarchs, the ancient hierarchs of the empire. Others don't. Others basically want to stop the empire from making a comeback in the world, right? And so that's a kind of interesting idea about the way a people deals with its roots down the ages. Anyway, so yeah, that's another thing. So that's how the races work out in the setting. You're gonna have a big diversity from that standpoint. But around the Hobby Shop Dungeon, if you want to focus more on a medieval type of game, you totally can, because the main fiefs are Franks, which are the equivalent of the European Franks, at the root of German and French people. Britons, which are like British Isle people, and Gaelish, which are like more like tribal, Pictish type people, right? Okay, so that's basically what you will find. And all that basically is presented, and after, as a DM, you choose what you want to emphasize in your game versus what you want to downplay. And, so you basically make your own sauce your way. In a very classic old school TSR fashion. Now, on the side of the art, with Mark Allen, we worked on coming up with a group of adventurers that we would show in different art pieces, right? Adventuring through the Marmoral Tomb. And one of these characters, it's funny, I pitched the character to Mark, and I was telling him, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we had a cleric in the group? And that cleric was a woman, but not a top model, or like a real strong woman who knows how to take care of herself, and she can take care of the boys as well. And I described her, I think, as a kind of war nun. And the end result you can see in some art pieces from Mark. Like, actually, I'm gonna show you right there. There you go. So yeah, the you can see the war nun in action. I'm trying to think of other ways like this that we injected some little things that people can play with and can relate to in that fashion. There's also the Crossroads to Adventure. These are play your own adventure books, right? That will be published around the Hobby Shop Dungeon proper. That's going to come later, but it's been worked on for a while, and still now with Lloyd Metcalf on some illustrations, for instance. And each author that worked with us so far wanted to have something unique about the character, the first person character you play as in the choose your own adventure. Yeah, so you're gonna have a book about a female gnome illusionist. You're gonna have a book about a wild elf, a nomad from the Silent Steppes. You're gonna have a magic user from Yathar, who deals with his heritage. You're gonna have a cleric of the Shield Maiden. I just talked about a female cleric of the Shield Maiden, to be precise. And yeah, so that's gonna be interesting as well to see come together in the future, right? So yeah, really to me that's not about politics, right? And it's really about making the setting usable by a variety of people. So if you want to care about those things, you can, but you don't have to. And there's no ideology that is like a ham-fisted, like hammered into the setting that way. No. And that's about it, I guess. But I'm trying to think if I forget anything. But I guess I touched on the main points I wanted to talk about. So if you want to talk about this topic, or you have questions, or anything really, you can comment, down below. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for listening, and I will talk to you later. And game on. Bye bye, everyone.